Commander Isla Munro leaned forward in her seat, staring out the large viewport of the Resolute. Ahead of them floated a dark, broken-shaped twisted metal, scorched plating. Old Terran markings barely visible under the dust of centuries. "That can't be right," she whispered. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Harrow, checked the readings again. "It's broadcasting a human beacon, Captain. Ship ID confirms. Artemis-7, missing for over 800 years. There was no movement, no lights. The ship looked dead. But the signal pulsing from it was brand new, sent only an hour ago." Isla stood, prepped the boarding team. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. They were deep in fringe space, far beyond any patrol route. The only reason they were here was because a strange, garbled signal had been picked up by a drifting satellite. Now this, as the Resolute pulled closer, they passed under the shadow of the ancient wreck. It was massive, older than anyone aboard had seen. The hull bore old-style Earth Alliance symbols, almost worn away by time. Yet the signal from within kept repeating, clean and clear. "We are not dead. We are waiting." The boarding team launched. Their small transport shivered as it docked with the old ship. Lieutenant Rafi, the young xenolinguist, tightened his helmet nervously. "Captain, if this thing's been drifting for 800 years, who's still alive to be waiting?" Isla didn't answer. She didn't know. Inside the Artemis-7, the silence was thick. The corridors were wide and built from an old alloy humans hadn't used in centuries. Dust hung in the air, but strangely the ship still had power. Low emergency lighting pulsed through the walls, blue, steady, almost like breathing. "Air's breathable," Harrow said, scanning the readouts. "Life support. Functional. How?" They moved deeper. Signs of a battle long ago lined the walls. Burn marks, shattered glass, dried stains no one wanted to name. But there were no bodies. No signs of what happened to the crew. Then they reached the bridge. Everything was intact. Not a scratch. "Power levels rising," said Rafi, his voice trembling. One by one, the lights turned on. And then, without warning, the central console flared to life. A holographic figure appeared, flickering, old, damaged. A man in a weathered uniform stared out at them. He looked tired, but calm. "I am Commander Elias Vorn, captain of the Artemis-7, the recording said. "If you're hearing this, the time has come." "EchoNet is live, EchoNet," Harrow whispered. "Leave it," Isla said. "Let him finish. We've seen what's coming." The recording went on. "They think we're gone. They think we forgot. But the truth is, we remembered everything. We learned, we watched, and now we're ready." The recording ended. Then something even stranger happened. The console began to hum, and the ship's systems started shifting without anyone touching them. "This thing is waking up," Rafi muttered. Outside, the Resolute scanners picked up a new contact. A Solari Ascendancy ship's leak. Tall and glowing with alien light, dropped from faster-than-light travel just kilometers away. No warning. "Captain," came a voice from the Resolute overcomes. "The Solari vessel is hailing us." Ela stepped away from the console, jaw tight. "Patch it through." A tall alien appeared on the screen, its silver eyes blinking slowly. "Terran vessel, you are trespassing in a sector under Solari watch. The object you are towing belongs to the stars now." Harrow stepped forward. "It's an Earth ship. It's built by humans." The alien tilted its head. "It was 800 years ago. Now it is. Forgotten scrap." The signal cut off. Then the Artemis-7 spoke. The ship's speakers activated. On their own, and a voice not Vorn's, but something colder said in Solari tongue. Identified. "Solari threat level. Confirmed. Observed patterns match previous aggression. Countermeasure sequence initializing." "What did it just say?" Isla asked sharply. Rafi translated slowly, his eyes wide. "It knows them. It's analyzed them before. And it's preparing to fight." "How could it have analyzed the Solari?" Harrow asked. "They weren't even spacefaring when this ship vanished." But Isla was already turning toward the exit. "We need to get back to the Resolute." "Now, Captain, look." Out the side viewport, they saw it. The Artemis-7's engines, dead for centuries, were glowing blue, alive and locking on to the Solari ship. The wreck was no wreck at all. It was a sleeping sword. Someone had just woken it. The boarding shuttle docked hard with the Resolute. Captain Isla Munro stepped out first, her boots clanging on the deck. Behind her, Lieutenant Rafi looked pale, shaken. Harrow followed close, his hand resting near his sidearm, just in case. "Get the tech crew to monitor that ship," Illa ordered. "No one touches it unless I say so." The Artemis-7 floated beside them now, silent again, but alive. Its engines still glowed faint blue as if it were breathing. But every sensor on the Resolute showed something strange. Slow power spikes. Systems running. A heat building, deep in the core. Down in engineering, Chief Torrance stared at the readings with disbelief. "Captain, that ship's fusion core was cold. Now it's humming like it never stopped. That's not a restart. It's remembering, Illa echoed. "Some of the old Earth ships were built with layered AI," Torrance explained. "Passive learning systems. But this one is too advanced. It's doing more than remembering. It's watching." Before Isla could respond, Officer Kell called from communications. "Solari's ship is still out there, Captain. They're circling. No threats yet, but they're watching too. Keep shields up. No sudden moves," Isla said. Lieutenant Rafi was working at the main terminal now, replaying the message from Commander Vorn again and again. He slowed the hologram, zooming in on strange markings in the background of the bridge symbols drawn by hand. "These aren't from our alphabet," he said. "They're a code." "A map." Isla leaned closer. "A map to what?" "Other ships," Rafi whispered. "Other Artemis units, hidden, waiting." A light blinked on his screen. A file had just appeared without being opened. "Did you click anything?" Isla asked. Rafi shook his head. "No, it just appeared." The file was labeled Econet Prime. They opened it. The screen shifted to a map of human space, dozens of red points blinking across the void. Some were in old mining colonies, others on abandoned stations, all marked as Artemis units. At least 40. Each one had a signal marker labeled Sleeping. Awaiting prime trigger. "What's the prime trigger?" Harrow asked. As if on cue, the bridge lights flickered. The ship's mainframe blinked, and a new voice came through internal comms. Calm, smooth, and not part of the Resolute systems. Econet Prime recognized. Artemis-7 reconnected. Awaiting next directive. Captain Rafi turned slowly. That voice. It's not from us. Ila's heart beat faster. Then where? The Artemis-7. It just spoke through our systems. Suddenly, alarms rang. "Solari vessel just scanned us hard," Officer Kell shouted. "Energy spike detected targeting systems online. Raise full shields," Isla barked. "Send a message. We're not engaging." Message sent, no reply. Before Kell could finish, the Artemis-7 pulsed. A soft wave of light rippled from the old ship. "Not a weapon, something else." Then the Solari ship went dark. "What happened?" Harrow asked. "No idea," Torrance said. "All their systems just blinked out." The Solari ship sat still, powerless, like someone had shut off every system inside. Then the lights came back on, but now flickering, unstable. The Artemis-7 spoke again. Observation complete. Solari neural lattice, vulnerable to pattern loop interference. Data updated, ready for next phase. "That old ship just hacked a Solari dreadnought," Rafi said in awe. Isla looked around at her crew. Everyone stood still, silent, stunned. "That's impossible," Harrow muttered. "No," Isla said softly. "It's prepared." They stared at the screen as the Solari ship regained control. Its engines flared. Slowly it began to back away. No threats, no weapons, just distance. "They're scared," Rafi said. "They came to laugh. Now they're leaving without a word." Then a new file downloaded into their systems, this time from deep inside the Artemis-7. Location beacon, Echo Vault 9 Europa sector. Code access required. Message: "If you have found one of us, the others must awaken. Find the vault. Everything begins there. Set course for Europa," Isla ordered without hesitation. Quietly. "No broadcasts. We move fast." The Resolute turned from the scene, leaving the ancient ship floating alone once again, but not silent. Back on the Artemis-7, A blue light pulsed through its decks. A message repeated in the dark, inaudible to human ears. One is awake. The others will follow. Let them come. We remember everything. The Resolute moved through space quietly, engines on silent drift. No signals, no lights. Captain Isla Monroe stood alone at the main window of the bridge, watching Europa grow larger ahead of them. Ice moon shimmered under Jupiter's pale glow, calm and cold. Somewhere under all that ice was a vault no one remembered except one ancient ship that wasn't supposed to be alive. Isla turned as Lieutenant Raffi stepped in. He held a tablet with shaking fingers. I decrypted more of the Artemis-7 file, he said. It's not just coordinates, it's a warning. She raised an eyebrow. What kind of warning, Raffi? Swallowed. Says if the vault is opened, the enemy will come. They always come. Isla stared at him. Enemy? I think it means the Solari. Or maybe something worse. Commander Harrow entered behind him. We're nearly in Europa orbit. No sign of the Solari ship. Peeled off somewhere near Titan. Probably watching us from a distance. They'll be back, Isla said. They don't understand what we've found yet, but they will. The shuttle launched in darkness. Stisela, Harrow, Raffi, and Chief Tehran made the descent. They skimmed low over Europa's cracked surface, ice ridges stretching like broken bones. The vault's location was deep in the southern hemisphere, buried under an old Earth science station long since abandoned. The station came into view, half-buried, windows cracked, antennas frozen and bent. They landed beside it, their boots crunching into the icy crust as they moved toward the entrance. Inside, it was dark and dead. Flashlights lit long, frozen halls. Frost covered the walls. No power, no sound. It's a strange pressure in the air, like something was holding its breath. They found the lift shaft hidden beneath the mess hall floor. A manual override still worked. Slowly, they descended into the deep. After what felt like forever, the elevator stopped with a hiss. A heavy metal door stood before them, half covered in ice. On the surface was a symbol in Old Earth Alliance crest, with strange markings etched beneath it. This is it, Raffi said quietly. Echo Vault 9. Torn stepped forward, pressing his gloved hand against the scanner beside the door. Nothing happened. He tried again. No response. Isla moved beside him. Let me try. She placed her bare hand against the scanner. A warm light blinked. The ice began to melt. Slowly, the door slid open. The room beyond was massive, round, dark. But when they stepped inside, lights snapped on, one by one circling the chamber like stars. In the center stood a large device, shaped like a sphere, smooth and pulsing blue. It floated slightly above. The platform, untouched by time. Around the walls were rows of shelves and old consoles, dustless, waiting. Raffi approached the sphere. His tablet buzzed with a signal. It's connecting to something, he whispered. To the Artemis, maybe more. The sphere lit brighter, and it spoke. Welcome, EchoNet Prime. Authentication confirmed. Downloading intelligence package. The consoles around the room came alive. Screens displayed dozens of alien symbols, blueprints, energy graphs, then images of ships. Human ships, Solari ships. Others they didn't recognize. A voice followed. In 2281, EchoNet was launched under Project Greywake. Our mission: observe rising alien powers, record their methods, and learn how to survive them. The Artemis fleet was seated across space with one task: remember. Wait. And Warren Isla listened as her mind raced. This was all real. Someone knew. The voice continued. The Solari Ascendancy was identified as Class 3 risk. Absorbent, manipulative, power-driven. Their pattern matches previous threats now extinct. Artemis units detected their early rise. The data you now receive will show their hidden motives. On the nearest screen, an image of a Solari dreadnought appeared, then overlays of how its systems could be disrupted using wave interference. It's just like what Artemis-7 had done. Torn stepped forward, scrolling through ship blueprints. This is insane. It's like someone took apart their entire fleet and figured out how to break it. Who did all this? Harrow asked. The sphere pulsed. You did? What do you mean? Isla asked. Not you. Your past.
Oh.
Your people. The ones who saw the danger before the rest. They prepared for war across time. They sent us forward to wait for it. A loud beep cut through the air. Raffi looked down at his screen. Captain, the other Artemis ships. Some of them are waking up. How many? He stared at the blinking screen. 16. No. 22. Now 34. And one of them is near the edge of Solari space. Illa's breath caught. They're going to panic. Enemy always comes. The warning echoed in her head. And now it was too late to stop what was waking. The Resolute lifted from Europa's surface in silence. Captain Isla Monroe sat in the command chair, watching the growing list of activated Artemis units blinking on the screen like red stars. 34 had come online in the last few hours. Each one was hidden in a different corner of human space. All of them were moving. Raffi worked quickly at his terminal. Most of them are changing position. Some are heading toward old colonies. Others are just scanning, mapping things. They're waking up with purpose, Isla said. They were programmed to react the moment the Solari came too close. That moment is now. Torin looked up from the engineering console, and there's more. Every Artemis unit has its own data cache strategies, countermeasures, ship schematics, each one built to fight a different kind of threat. What kind of threat are we looking at? Harrow asked. Torin hesitated. Not just Solari. That made the bridge go quiet. Isla narrowed her eyes. What do you mean, some of these? Files mention others. Aliens we haven't met, not yet. But they knew we would. Raffi spoke next. It's like it predicted the pattern. Once one species begins absorbing and stealing tech, others always follow. The Artemis A is expected it. And they were built to stop it. Before Isla could respond, a proximity alarm sounded. Unknown vessel approaching. Officer Kell announced. Fast! A sleek ship dropped out of FTL just kilometers away. Smooth white hull. Solari markings glowing along its sides. But it was smaller than their dreadnoughts. More like a scout. They're hailing us. Put it through. The face that appeared on screen was young, even by human standards. Smooth silver skin. Thin features. Soft voice. I am Envoy Talon. Of the Solari Ascendancy. I come alone under truce. Isla studied him. You've been tracking us? We have. But I did not come to threaten. I came to ask. To ask what? The Solari leaned forward. Why is your past? Watching. No one spoke for a moment. You saw what happened near Artemis 7, Isla said. That ship wasn't dead, it remembered. Talon nodded slowly. We laughed at it, but it knew us. It attacked our neural systems like it had studied them. For years, that should be impossible. It's not, Raffi said quietly. The ship studied early Solari patterns before your people even reached deep space. It adapted in silence. Talon looked disturbed. How could something so old? No things we haven't even built yet. Isla spoke calmly. Because it wasn't built to fight you now. It was built to fight what you'd become. Talon looked at her, unsure whether to be angry or afraid. Why did your ancestors do this? He asked. Why build weapons across time? Raffi answered. Because you weren't the first threat, just the one we expected most. Talon looked away, his smooth expression faltering. Was told to watch, to gather data. But now, your ancient ships are waking up all over space. What happens next? Isla didn't blink. That depends on what you do. Screen went dark. Silence filled the bridge again. Then Kell turned with wide eyes. New signal, Captain. From the edge of Solari space. Another Artemis unit. Bigger than the others? Isla stood up. Put it on screen. The image showed a massive black ship long. Sharp, ancient in design, but pulsing with light. No markings. No flag. Nothing to show where it came from. But it moved fast. Purposefully. Torin stared at it. That's not a scout. It's a warship, Raffi said. And it's heading straight for Solari Command. Another signal blinked. An Artemis AI message. EchoNet Nodo 1 online. Initiating protocol. Eclipse. Harrow leaned forward. What's protocol Eclipse? Rafi scrolled through the downloaded files. It's a full lockdown strategy. Cut enemy communication, disable command vessels, and scatter their fleets. Isla stared at the warship on screen. It was already speeding toward Solari space. "It's happening," she said. "The system's kicking in. One Artemis woke us, now the rest are moving on their own." "But are they still under control?" Torin asked carefully. Ilza's voice was steady. "They were built to protect humanity. That doesn't mean they'll listen to us now." Another warning flashed on screen. 3 Solari fleets mobilizing. One is heading toward Earth. There. "Scared," Harrow said. "And when they're scared, they attack." Isla turned slowly. "Send a message to Earth's defense. Tell them to activate silent mode. Get every base ready." "The Artemis warship?" Rafi asked. Isla looked out the window at the stars. "We follow it, because whatever it remembered, the Solari were about to learn it firsthand." The Resolute chased the black warship across stars, moving fast but silent. The Artemis ship had no crew, no flags, no warning lights, just pure purpose. It cut through space like it already knew where to strike. Captain Isla Monroe sat still. On the bridge, eyes locked on the path ahead. Every hour, the Artemis warship sent short updates codes, data, tactics, but it never spoke. Not like a person, not like an AI asking questions. It just sent orders, and Earth was listening. Another. "Fleet has gone dark," Lieutenant Rafi reported. "Solari Group 7 no contact for the last 20 minutes. They were stationed near Telros 4. Commander Harrow frowned. "That's the 3rd fleet gone quiet." Chief Torin turned from engineering. "They're not destroyed." The Artemis ship is using jammers, neural ones. It's turning their systems off from the inside, just like before. "Not just weapons," Isla muttered. "At it using strategy. Surprise. Weakness." Kel called out from comms. "New message from Earth Command. They want to know, do we engage the Solari if they fire first?" Isla stood. "Not yet. Tell them we wait. This isn't a war knot unless the Solari make it one." Outside the window, the black ship slowed. It reached the edge of Solari space. Then it stopped, just floating in place. A new signal came through. "Nodo 1 has arrived. Prime target located. Command center confirmed. Awaiting human directive." For the first time, the Artemis warship was asking something. Torin stared at the screen. "It's looking at us." Isla walked forward. It built it to wait for the future. "But it still needs a voice to lead." Rafi nodded. "It's not just an AI. It's part of us. It remembers why it was made." Isla looked around at her crew. "Send this message. Hold position. Defend only if attacked. Earth will respond to aggression with EchoNet authorization." The ship blinked its lights once in reply. Then silence. A ping lit up the main screen. The Solari had returned, but not one ship. Not 10. 50. Massive ships, some new. Some old came out of FTL around Solari Prime. They surrounded their command center like a shell. Weapons ready, engines hot. The screen filled with glowing energy signatures. Harrow leaned forward. "They're scared. They're showing strength. But they're not moving." Rafi's voice dropped. "We're watching them. They're watching us. It's a standoff." Another hail came in. "From Solari High Command," Kel said. "It's not the envoy this time." The screen flickered. A tall figure appeared, metal skin, sharp edges, golden eyes. "I am Counselor Virith of the Solari Ascendancy," the alien said coldly. "You have crossed into sacred space with a weapon of unknown design. You must withdraw." Isla didn't blink. "It's not unknown. It's Artemis-class. Human-made. Built long before your warships ever left your homeworld." His eyes. "That is impossible, no," Isla said. "It's history." Virith raised his voice. "You bring ancient machines into our domain. You jam our fleets. You violate neutrality." Rafi stepped forward. "You violated it first, decades ago. Connet recorded everything. Your early plans to manipulate lesser species, to take, not share. We have it all." Virith's jaw tightened. "That data is old. Misread. Then why?" "Are your ships locking weapons?" Harrow asked. No answer. Then something shifted. One of the Solari dreadnoughts, massive and glowing, turned its cannons toward the Artemis warship. Everyone on the Resolute held their breath. Isla didn't move. Send. No message, she said. Let them choose. On the screen, the dreadnought charged its main weapon, but before it fired, the black Artemis ship responded. It didn't launch missiles. It didn't shoot lasers. It sent one single pulse of light. The Solari dreadnought froze. Every system inside blinked out. The lights, weapons, engines all dead. Then it slowly turned and aimed its own weapons at its fleet. Gasps filled the Resolute's bridge. They're not attacking, Raffi whispered. They've been taken. No, Torrin said.
Not
Taken. Redirected. The Artemis warship blinked once more, then released the dreadnought. The Solari ship drifted, powerless but untouched. A message played from the Artemis AI. This is defense, not destruction. Stand down. Vareth stared at the screen, his golden eyes wide, angry but scared. You've changed the balance, he said. You've shifted power with ghosts. Ela met his gaze. No, we've just remembered what you hoped we forgot. Screen went dark. The Solari fleet stopped moving. One by one, they began to retreat. The Resolute watched them go in space. The black ship floated still, like a sentinel returned from deep time, and somewhere in the dark corners of space, more Artemis ships began to wake. Asterisk back on Earth, people watched the skies with wide eyes. The news had spread fast. Solari ships had entered human space, but left without firing. They said nothing, left no warning. But above it all, one fact echoed everywhere. The black ship had stopped them in orbit. The defense platforms powered by ancient systems sat awake for the first time in centuries. The world below didn't understand the full truth yet. But Captain Ila Monroe did. Inside the Resolute's war room, she stood with her team. Harrow, Raffi, Torrent, they all stared at the floating hologram of the Artemis fleet. One by one, more ships had activated. 43 so far. Hidden in colonies, moons, old stations, all coming online. They're not just weapons, Raffi said. They're memories. Tools made by people who wanted us to survive. Torrin nodded. Each one holds different knowledge. One has gravity tech no one's seen before. Another plasma shielding we don't even understand. Why now? Harrow asked. Why all at once? Well, I stepped closer. Because we reached the point they predicted, a moment where Earth had grown strong enough, but also stood on the edge of something dangerous. Kel entered quickly. Captain, we just received a signal from Artemis Node 17-1. We didn't even know existed. It's not in human space. That got everyone's attention? Where? Ela asked. Kel swallowed. Far side of the Typhon expanse. Outside the mapped zone, it's old. Very old. The signal includes a short message. Play it. A voice echoed through the room, deeper and slower than the others. The sky will break. The cycle returns. Harbingers, stir, come.
Effie blinked.
That's not about the Solari, no, Hyla said. That's something else. Harrow moved to the map. The Typhon expanse. Nobody goes there. No colonies, no beacons, not even pirates. Except one ship, Torrent said. Artemis Node 17. Kel looked uneasy. Should we even go? Isla turned to her team. Someone sent that ship out there. If it's calling now, it means something bigger is waking up, and we need to know what. A few hours later, the Resolute jumped space near the Typhon expanse felt wrong. To still, the stars seemed farther. Even the ship's systems ran slow, as if the void itself pressed against them. The black void opened, and there it was. Node-17. The ship floated alone, massive, scarred, old, even older than Artemis 7. Its hull was darker than space, and its lights blinked slowly, like a heartbeat near death. But it was not dead. The moment the Resolute got close, systems came alive. Command ship identified. Link accepted. Archive unlocked, sequence ready. A bright pulse fired from Node 17, scanning the Resolute from end to end. Then a door opened on the old ship's helidocking bay, with blue light spilling out. "We're invited," Raffi whispered. "Let's not keep history waiting," Isla said. They docked. Entered inside, the ship felt empty, like it had been waiting for them forever. The walls showed carvings, deep marks of battles no one remembered. Screens flickered on as they walked, showing images from the past alien ships. Destroyed worlds, cities swallowed in fire. "What is this?" Torin asked. They reached the core, a round chamber filled with light. In the center floated a figure, a hologram of an old woman in uniform. Her voice was tired, but steady. "Welcome, descendants. I am Admiral Rainacade. If you are seeing this, the harvesters are stirring again." Everyone froze. "The what?" Harrow asked. Illa's face went pale. "I've read that name once." "What?" "In the deepest files," the hologram continued, "they come not to learn or trade but to take, to wipe out rising stars before they shine. The Solari are just a symptom. The harvesters are the disease. We saw it long ago, and we left a warning for you." A massive screen lit up, showed a map of the galaxy, thousands of points. Each Artemis ship is a piece of the puzzle. Together they form our defense or last shield, but that alone is not enough. You must lead them. The lights dimmed. The last words were clear. "The stars will test you, but you are not alone. We made sure of that." Isla stood in silence. Feeling the weight of centuries pressing down, Raffi turned slowly. "Captain, if the Solari weren't the enemy..." Torin finished the thought. "Then what's coming is worse." Isla nodded once. "Then we get ready." The Resolute left Node 17 behind, quiet and heavy with everything they had learned. The crew didn't talk much on the way back. No one knew what to say. Somewhere out there, the harvesters were moving. They had no face, no flag, no demands. Just one mission: consume anything that rose too high, too fast. And now, they were coming again. Captain Isla Monroe sat in her quarters, staring at a small halocrystal. Inside it, Admiral Rainacade's message played on loop, silent now. Those words kept echoing in her mind: "You must lead them." She didn't feel ready, but the Artemis ships were awake. The EchoNet had returned, and Earth needed her. When the Resolute arrived home, Earth orbit looked different. Dozens of black ships floated like ancient knights in formation. They didn't move unless asked. They didn't speak unless spoken to. But they were there, watching, protecting. In Earth's council chamber, Isla stood before the full Alliance leadership. Screens showed the Artemis network, the Solari retreat, and now red signals pulsing on the edge of the Typhon expanse. "These aren't rumors," she said. "We confirmed it. Something is moving out there. Node 17 warned us." The Artemis network was never meant to fight the Solari alone. It was meant to hold the line when the real danger came. "Counselor," Varen frowned. "What do we know about the harvesters?" "Not much," Isla admitted. "But the Artemis records show patterns whole civilizations erased, not by invasion but by sudden collapse. Their energy, their ideas, even their memory, gone. As if cut out of history, another counselor leaned forward. "And you believe they're returning?" Isla tapped her control pad. A map appeared, showing distant systems blinking re-Artemis. Markers flashing. Then, silence from those zones. No signals. No ships. "They're already testing our borders." Varen looked worried. "What do you suggest?" Isla's voice was calm, but strong. "We do what we were meant to. We activate full EchoNet defense. We bring all Artemis units under unified command. And we prepare Earth not just to survive, but to lead." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, one by one, the council members nodded. Authorization was granted. The Artemis units responded instantly. Cross-human space, ancient systems linked together for the first time in centuries. Defense platforms powered up, drones launched. Warships moved into hidden formations, but the most powerful move came from the center. Noda, the black warship from earlier, sent a single signal to all its siblings: Command confirmed. Earth leads. Prepare. For harvester response. On the bridge of the Resolute, the crew watched as the fleet shifted into new positions. Raffi spoke first. They're listening to us. All of them, Haro added. They're not just weapons. They're soldiers. They've waited a long time for orders. Torin grinned. We're not just flying with history. We are the... History. Then came the warning. A deep pulse hit the Artemis network. Faint. But there. A signal from deep inside the Typhon expanse. It was not Solari. Not anything human. It was spreading fast. Node 17 confirmed it. Harvester scouts entering fringe space. Hostile patterns detected. Intercept protocol recommended. Isla stood and looked out the main window. Earth hung below like a glowing promise. Raffi, send a message. Short, clear, broadcast it wide. To who, Captain? She turned, her voice steady. To the stars, to all species, all watchers, all thieves, all kings. Raffi nodded and pressed record. Isla spoke. We are the children of Earth. We remember everything. We've seen what? You do. We've seen who you erase, but we are not afraid. Not now. Not anymore. She paused. You've mistaken silence for weakness. You thought time buried us, but we didn't sleep. We prepared. One last line. We are EchoNet. We are the voice of those who would not die. And this time will not vanish. The message went out, across the void, across fear. And far away, in places where light had not reached in eons, something heard. But Earth was ready. Because humans had done what no one expected. They had survived their future before it ever arrived.